enter one chance, I swear, now go with the go so. Yes, men, they kill us every day, for them busy, they campaign again. After they failed all the promises they made, oh, then they praise themselves. Why the masses were supposed to give them the praises, we they here they run to. Move it up. I blame it on the religious leaders, I blame it on the traditional rulers. People were supposed to fight for the people, they don't compromise. Shame on the rebellious brothers, people will cry with us during answers. Today them don't join those oppressors, the IGHO. Something on the smell. Very soon now we go perceive. We have up where this government they cause na time bomb. It go soon explode. Revolution they come. It is very close and they feel more. When the power of the people we triumph, the power of the people in power. They no even care, they no even send. Say the people they die of hunger. Hungry dog is an angry dog. One day you go bite the owner. Idle man is the devil workshop. Many youths for Nigeria no good job. And the country the youths got no future. The country is gone, that's on period. Move it up. I blame it on the judiciary leaders, I blame it on the electoral officials. People were supposed to save the nation, but they collect it bribe. Shame on the armed forces. People were supposed to protect the masses. One of them they shoot us anytime they hear our voice.
Kiwe wesu garani orianya nine nke pụrịta kwasa mmadụ dị ndụ n'ihi na ọ bụ naanị gị bụ onye na-agwọ ọrịa anyị wee na-akpọkụ gị onwe gị bụ sunele nke ndị agha ka igwe mere anyị ebere ka akwa nke anyị na-ebe ka ude nke anyị na-asụ wee bịa n'iru gị ka iwe mee ka Biafra wee guzosi ike ka anyị wee n'ikpete mazụ nye ha sogotuto na nsọpụrụ na ịja mma site n'ebighị ebi ma ruo n'ebighị ebi ise mma mma dịrị gị Chineke mma mma dịrị gị Chineke.
Are you still fighting the struggle to have independence for Biafra?
We are fighting for independence, not fighting physically with guns and bullets. We are fighting in terms of our agitation. We are fighting in terms of our belief. We're fighting in terms of our consistency to ensure that we are free, because we're not free. As a free people, we can afford to make life better for our people. Right now, we can't do that because of how Nigeria is structured and because of the very flawed foundations upon which Nigeria is.
You called for a referendum latest this year, November, you said, I think. Yes. If that doesn't happen, what's the way forward? Because the way it looks like the government will definitely not agree to that.
Then there'll be no elections in Biafra land. No more elections here. They can put whoever they like in office. They can do whatever they like with their political positions. We will not engage in any political process.
You said it's a peaceful struggle, but
Yes.
there are some videos of you appearing in the past, especially abroad, in particular in one conference in the US, where you said you need weapons to defend yourself, you need guns and ammunition. How can we understand that in the context that you're saying it's a peaceful struggle?
I'm sure you've heard about the Fulani headsmen killing people all over the place. Have you heard about it? Exactly. So how do you intend to defend yourself against Fulani headsmen without guns and bullets? They'll be killing our people, raping our women, destroying crops in the farms, and no one does anything about it. Is that how human beings are supposed to live?
So, and you have the right to arm yourself and defend yourself with arms in that context?
Self-defense is recognized even by all the known laws of the UN. Is that not correct? We have the right. If somebody were to barge into this very interview and are wielding a machete or an AK-47, are you suggesting we should let them get away with it?
You were detained for almost 2 years, from 2015 on, and actually there was no trial. No trial ever happened, and despite several court rulings that said you were supposed to be released, you were not released.
Yes.
Do you think you were treated in a fair way by the government? Or rather also by the justice system?
No, not fairly, because Nigeria is not a civilized country. People behave like animals. They are not reasonable enough. They're not disciplined enough. They are not mentally developed enough to run a transparent civil society. For them, they have a feudal mindset where you have the ruling class and, a multitude of poverty-stricken people who never utters any word in rebellion or to even ask questions about their plight. That is one thing we are determined to challenge.
Don't you think you insult a lot of Nigerians with that?
I'm being very kind, to be honest. I could have used far more harsher words to describe them. I'm being very kind.
So generally you don't think very positive of your countrymen then, obviously?
They are not... When you say positive, no, as individuals, perhaps there are a few good people amongst them. But as a collective, this is an absolute mess. And you can see for yourself. Didn't you go through the roads and see how horrible they are? Didn't you see how unkempt everywhere is? How filthy and dirty everywhere is? That is the product of a Nigerian system that is uniquely backwards, even by the very third world standards of Black Africa. That's the fact, and people must face up to it.
Well, I traveled in the north quite extensively, and I went to very remote areas sometimes where you would still find Igbo people living there, peaceful together with communities in the north. Don't you sometimes think that you might endanger their peaceful coexistence with the communities there, that they might get into trouble with that?
So if they're living so peacefully together, or cohabiting so peacefully as you put it, how come you hear about all those uprisings in the north where southern Christians are being slaughtered and nothing gets done about it? Are you telling me that that is normal? People are in the north out of a dire need, necessity more or less, to try and survive. Because here, the entire production process has been emasculated by people and policies that are geared towards ensuring that our people exist in perpetual state of poverty. And that is unacceptable to us. What we're asking the world to recognize is that we want to live in peace, not in pieces. We want to live in peace, just to allow us to be. Allow Biafra to exist. We were existing before the British came. Just allow us to go back to, what we were before. No African came to Europe to create countries. So for somebody to just come in here and say, you, from today, your name is Nigeria, is simply laughable.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining us this evening, wherever you're joining from. I appreciate you for being part of the program this evening. Please like and share to other platforms, share to family and friends, share to anyone that you can reach. We have come again this evening to continue on our sensitization and awareness creation that we have been doing. This is something we have signed up for. It is something that we must do. Regardless the obstacles, temptations, attacks, we will continue to do what we have to do. Wherever you are watching us from, please like and share the program, share to family and friends, share to your neighbors, share to those who are close to you. Don't keep the message to yourself. We must continue to speak. We must continue to talk. In this platform, we don't come here to instigate violence. We don't come to preach hate. We do not come to attack people or individuals. All we do here is to say things the way they are, the truth and nothing but the truth. To continue to encourage Biafrans and expose the atrocities of Nigerian government against the Biafran people, more especially the attack against Mazi Nnamdi Kanu that is ongoing today. We will not keep silent. We have to continue to speak and speak as much as we can. So I appreciate everyone that have joined us on this platform. We will continue to say the truth, nothing but the truth. It doesn't matter the attack that is coming. It doesn't matter the hatred. It doesn't matter whether the war want to cage us. They don't want us to speak. Even in that cage, we will speak. Just like Ahmad Bello said that when you put us in a labor camp, we will emerge as a hero. That is what we are doing today. They try to cage us. They try to make us small. They try to limit our reach. They try to shadow ban our platforms and make sure that people don't see us. But I don't care. Likewise, you that is watching, don't worry, don't bother yourself. Even if you are the only one there, all you need to do is to like the program and share it. The next person is going to share, and before you know it, we get to where we need to be. So don't worry. We will do what we have to do whenever we have to do it, and as much as we can with the number of time that we have. So I appreciate every one of you. In the morning, we preached a message which we are going to continue to preach again this evening. It's something that has to do with that also. And this evening it says, Nnamdi Kanu still in chains. Our Supreme Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is still in chains. Why are Igbo leaders and the world silent? Why are Igbo leaders and the world silent? 20th October, uprising looms. 20th October, uprising looms. Every message we are preaching these days is in preparation for the 20th of October. We will continue to create the awareness, and the awareness is going as far as it's supposed to be. Nigerian government cannot continue to go scot-free on the crimes against humanity in Biafra land, the crime against humanity, against the Biafran people, against Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, the abduction, the kidnapping, the genocide that is going on. Nigeria will not go scot-free anymore. They have gotten away with it for a very long time, but this time they will no longer get away with it. We will continue as much as we can to speak on top of our voices and tell the world what the truth is. So wherever you are, you must add your voice, add your own voice. As I'm doing my own here, you can equally do your own by sharing the program. When you share the program, you are equally doing something. It is not only when you on your camera and you speak. If you cannot be able to speak, you cannot be able to write, at least those that are writing and those that are speaking, you share their program. That will go a long way to create awareness. Because the battle that we are facing today is not a child's play. It is something that we must be serious about, and we will do everything humanly possible to do our best. My fellow Biafrans, lovers of freedom, wherever you are, our leaders must not be forgotten. Our leader, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, and our Prime Minister, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Remember, we are still waiting for the appeal case of our Prime Minister, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Our Prime Minister have appealed, and we are waiting for the Finnish court to fix a date for the appeal so that we can follow up and know what the outcome will be. We know that these are maneuvers, these are planned by Nigeria and Finland, working hand in hand to see that they stop the Biafran restoration. They are working tirelessly day and night. But we cannot keep silent. We need to do our own part. Why Chukwu Gabiama, who owns this very project, we do everything possible to see that we are not left behind. So wherever you are watching this program from, this very night, evening, afternoon, depending where you are watching from, I urge you to like and share this program and also add your voice. Add your own voice. Add your own voice. Don't just speak alone. They have taken away our leaders and they want us to be silent. The only reason Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was kidnapped was to stop Biafra. The only reason Mazi Nnamdi was kidnapped was to stop Biafra. Stop raising awareness of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Stop putting pressure on the Nigerian government. It is no longer a history that when Mazi Nnamdi was here, the Nigerian government could not know peace. The politicians could not have it their way. But since they succeeded in taking Mazi Nnamdi out of the way, they have continued to snore and sleep. They are sleeping and they are snoring and nobody is putting any pressure on them. There is no single pressure anywhere against Nigeria. There is no single pressure anywhere against the politicians. They are relaxing and sleeping. Every mechanism that Mazi Nnamdi have put in place to mount pressure, they have been able to manipulate them, and they are now busy focusing on themselves, focusing on saga, focusing on different propaganda and blackmail, and they forgot the project Biafra. But some of us will never forget. We will continue to create this awareness and give voice to our Supreme Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, give voice to our Prime Minister, Mazi Simon Ekpa Njoko. These are the two able men that Chukwu have given us to lead this race until we achieve it. But the enemy struck and decided to put a stop and a hindrance. But I bet you, no matter what the enemy does, the will of Chukwu must come to pass. And the will of Chukwu is that we will have our freedom. And nothing, no man born of a woman will stop the freedom of Biafran people. So, as you can see, even when the Biafran people seem like they have lost all hope, when it seems like we cannot have somebody to speak for us, when it seems like we don't have any pressure, any plan to put any pressure, Chukwu by himself will raise somebody. We were here when he raised somebody from Plateau State in the north. Somebody from Plateau State came and called for a mega protest on the 1st of October. Every one of us was here and we were watching. And he called and called and called, and that was also a pressure. And the government did what it did towards that. Today again, while it seems like no voice, no ear, nobody is hearing or listening, another voice has come through Omoyele Sowore. Omoyele Sowore has called for a mass protest in Asok. Most importantly, calling on the major politicians, calling on the governors, more especially governors in the southeastern region, senators in the southeastern region, all the lawmakers in the southeastern region, all the politicians, the elites, they should come out and march to Asok to demand the release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. It is long overdue. It is long overdue, but some of them are very scared. Almost all of them, they are very scared to make this call. But Chukwu in his infinite mercy, as always, decided to choose somebody by himself to make the call. As the call has been made, it is our own duty to answer that call. It is in our hands to answer that call. We must. It is a must. If you don't answer that call, you will have yourself to blame. If you do not answer that call, now we understand where you stand. My fellow Biafrans, we must continue to create this awareness. And I like what is happening now. Sowore is not just talking and going to bed. He is working tirelessly. As you always know, he's an activist. We might not agree on everything, but we still have a common place where we can meet. We might not agree in everything. And there's no law that says that we must agree in everything. There's no law that says we must agree in everything. In certain issues, we might not agree. And in some issues, we have to agree 100%. And that is why we are doing what we are doing today. We cannot keep silent and say, oh, because it is Sowore that called it, you're not going to listen. Oh, because Sowore is the one Nigerian, you're not going to pay attention. We will use every possible means, every means available to us. We are going to use it to our own advantage. We will use it to our own advantage. That is why this call that is made by Sowore must be respected and we must pay attention to it. Hate him or like him, We must take advantage of the time. Take advantage of the time. He didn't just call for that protest and he go to sleep. He called for that protest and he is working tirelessly to make sure that that protest hold. And I'm going to read out his latest confrontation today. He has contacted former President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. Sowore has gone further. He is contacting all the heavyweight politicians that you can ever imagine. Every politician that has a voice, Sowore is reaching out to them. And today, he has been able to reach out to Goodluck Jonathan. And I am going to read out what transpired between his meeting with Jonathan today. Earlier today in Abuja, I met former President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan to discuss the continued incarceration of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. President Jonathan agreed there is an urgent and compelling need to address this matter decisively and justly. I thank him sincerely for recognizing the importance of resolving Kanu's case in the interest of peace, fairness, and national healing. Particularly assuring was that he promised to meet official BAT, which is Tinubu, to discuss this issue as soon as possible. That's Sowore speaking. He met with Goodluck Jonathan today, and that was the promise that was given. With this, former President Jonathan joined a growing list of Nigeria who have called for justice in Nnamdi Kanu's case. A list that already includes ex-Vice President Atiku Abubakar, Femi Falana, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Senator Shehu Sani, and many others across political and regional divide. All these people that are mentioned are some of the important people who have already added their voice. They didn't wait for anybody to consult them. They didn't wait for anybody to contact them. On their own, when they had a call made by Sowore, they responded. Former Vice President Atiku Abubakar responded. Femi Falana was interviewed and he gave his voice. Senator Shehu Sani also gave his voice. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu remained in detention today because he took up the just cause of confronting the long-standing issue of marginalization in Nigeria. Like other ethnic and regional activists whose political motivated cases have been withdrawn or dismissed, Nnamdi Kanu should also be released without further delay. I once again call on all political, cultural, ethnic, regional leaders across Nigeria to join this noble cause. In particular, I invite my brothers and sisters from the Southeast. Sowore is now begging people from the Southeast. You can imagine. Sowore is writing and begging people in the Southeast to come out. You can see the name I mentioned that the people have given their voice. None of them is from Igbo land. None of them is an Igbo person. The people that their name were mentioned here, who on their own willingly gave their voice. But look at Sowore begging these ones. Peter Obi, Soludo, Alexoti, Francis Nwifuru, Peter Mba, Hope Uzodimma, Obi Ezekwesili. You can imagine, these are people that always carry things on their shoulder. When they talk about one Nigeria, they'll be in the front, but their own brother, a call to march to Abuja for his freedom is made. None of them have responded. John Mbata of Ohaneze, Igbo, worldwide, as well as Nigerians of conscience everywhere, to lend their voices to the call for justice, freedom. Nnamdi Kanu should be set free. And I remain firmly committed to the peaceful mobilization of justice and freedom in this matter. Omoyele Sowore. You can imagine. Look at Obi Ezekwesili. Obi Ezekwesili was the one that went and stood for Natasha. In Natasha's case, Obi Ezekwesili was in the front line. But look at, since Mazi Nnamdi Kanu detention started, has you ever heard the voice of Obi Ezekwesili? Have you ever heard the voice of Obiezekusi? Chibok guess she was there. Except those ones that are politically motivated, except those moves that will make them happy as politicians, they will never ever have their voice. You can imagine. Today, Sowore is the one begging them. Sowore is the person today that is begging all of them to come out. You can imagine. You can imagine. Sowore is the one today begging them to come out. He has been able to meet people and others added their voice. Look at these idiots. Look at this one. The one they call himself Ojus Okalo. Ojus Okalo, look at what he said. When Ojus Okalo was approached, Ojus Okalo said, I can't comment on Nnamdi Kanu detention without knowing Tinubu or court position, says Senator Ojus Okalo. You can imagine. Senator Ojus Okalo, from the same place with Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. When Senator Ojus Okalo was approached, look at what he said. I can't comment on Nnamdi Kanu's detention without knowing Tinubu or court position, says Senator Ojus Okalo. So you must hear Tinubu. He said until Tinubu take a decision, he cannot say anything. Until the court decide, he cannot say anything. But people from other regions, from other tribes, are adding their voice, including ex-presidents. They are speaking and saying it is time to let go of our Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. But look at an idiot. Look at this vulture. Look at this vulture. He was called. This vulture was called. Other people had the information and they came out. Vice President Atiku Abubakar gave his voice. Shehu Sani from the north gave his voice. These are people from the northern part of Nigeria. These are Northerners. You can imagine, these are Northerners. But people from Biafra land, none of them has been able to come out boldly. Except for the senator from Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, that is representing Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, who has volunteered to come out. And we heard that Abaribe also gave a voice. And Wazirike. Every other person is silent. The same Ohaneze Ndohi Nandama that we have forward in first of all congratulating Nigeria. They were the first to congratulate Nigeria for the detention of our Prime Minister Mazi Nnamdi. They gave money to kidnap Mazi Nnamdi. They sponsor this Ohaneze. We are part of those who sponsored the kidnap of Mazi Nnamdi from Kenya. They were part of those who proscribed IPOB. The genesis of the problem today is Ohaneze Ndoshitanda. And at this point in time, even when Sowore wrote their name one after another, calling them out, he has to be calling them out. Come, let us go to Asorok. Let us march to Asorok and demand the release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Enough is enough. Every other region is buying the idea. But look at somebody from Mazi Nnamdi Kanu place. A vulture. If you are looking for the problem and those who are problems in our land, it is someone like this idiot, Ojus Okalo. What has Mazi Nnamdi Kanu done to Ojus Okalo? What has Mazi Nnamdi Kanu done? This is Ojus Okalo who was crying when they denied him the Senate president. They denied him Senate president and he was crying and saying some of us are sacrificing this in Nigeria. These are the bunch of idiots that they used to hold us captive. These are people. You see why I love this protest? This protest is going to expose so many things. It's already exposing so many things. You know, when we come and say that the politicians in Biafra land are evil, they are evil. Not voted by the people, not supported. They have lost legitimacy in Biafra country. These are evil. They are the real people working with the caliphate. They are the real people working for the colonial masters. The Igbo politicians, the Igbo elites, Ohaneze Ndohi Nandama. These are instruments of the West. Every single one of them. You can imagine. Ojus Okalo did not make a call. Sowore made a call and he was approached. He said, I can't comment on Nnamdi Kanu detention without knowing Tinubu's or court position. What else do you want to hear? What else are you expecting to hear for you to know those who are holding Mazi Nnamdi Kanu captive? For you to know those who are making sure that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu did not come out. I tell you, every single one of them that is standing on the Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, planning his downfall and his death, every single one of you will die before Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Oju Kalu will go down. This was an idiot that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu stood for him when they jailed him. When they took him into detaining him, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was speaking for this idiot. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was fighting for this idiot. Even Mazi Simon Eba was fighting for this clown, this buffoon. When they detained him, a fraudster, they detained him because of the money he stole. We added our voice. Every one of us was asking for him to be released today. They asked him about the case of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. An innocent man, your own brother, whom they caught. Doesn't this idiot know that the court has freed Mazi Nnamdi Kanu? Didn't Oju Kalu know that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu have won his case in Kenya? Didn't Oju Kalu know that arbitrary committee of United Nations said that Nigeria must release Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and pay him compensation? Now when we say these people are the real enemies, you wouldn't understand. You can imagine what this idiot is saying with his own mouth against his own brother, and he cannot comment. He will not comment on the case of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu until he knows what Tinubu and the court are saying. These are people who are ready to sell their brother. Why he's talking that? Look at this one. This one is a northerner. A northerner. This man contested for president in Nigeria. This idiot contested for president in Nigeria. Look at what he wrote. Boko Haram, Fulani bandits are northern Nigerian freedom fighters. Adamu Garba. This Adamu Garba contested for president in Nigeria. This man from the northern part of Nigeria said it boldly. He said it on an interview. He said it on an interview in the national TV when they were interviewing him. On a national news, Boko Haram and Fulani bandits are northern Nigeria freedom fighters. But you ask Oju Kalu, what are we going to do about your brother? And he says nothing. He says he can't comment. He says he can't comment. This is an idiot that the Mazi Nnamdi Kanu know him very well. A criminal. A criminal. These are the people who are going to Asorok every day to make sure that our Suda Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is not released. But I bet you, no matter what they do, no matter how they try, they will never ever succeed. We shall defeat them, hands down. Biafra will definitely defeat this bunch of idiots. So wherever you are, we must not keep silent. This very call for protest is a very massive one, and it is going to expose so many things. It is going to expose so many things will be exposed. So many hidden agendas will be exposed. So many things we have been ignoring, they will be exposed. They will be exposed. And I want us to listen to this interview that was granted to Omoyele Sowore. I want us to hear directly from Omoyele Sowore the information he passed and his preparation for this very protest that is coming on the 20th of October. A mega protest. 20th of October. We are going nowhere. We are going to be here. This is not a time to be afraid. There is nothing to fear. We must face them head on. There is nothing to fear. Every Biafra must rise up, add their voice, and continue to speak. Speak and pay attention. It doesn't matter whether they are serious or unserious, whether you like the person talking or not, it doesn't make any sense for me. Anything that will free Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, I am in for it. Even if it is the devil, I am in for it. I want Mazi Nnamdi Kanu out. That is the most important thing. Let's listen to Omoyele Sowore interview on this Prime Times.
So is there likely to be an end to the ordeal of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu anytime soon? Or is he now likely to wither away in perpetual detention, as his supporters fear. The IPOB separatist leader has been incarcerated for over 10 years on charges of treasonable felony, despite various court orders and appeals for his release. Till date, he stands unconvicted, and for many champions of justice, his continued detention is both a travesty and a violation of his fundamental human rights. They say this exposes the widening gap between Nigeria's constitutional provisions of a right to a fair trial within a reasonable time and the daily realities of the citizens of this besmirched country, in a world in which the enduring principle and the cornerstone of the law is that every individual is presumed innocent until proven guilty. Well, today, a new call for action has been made by the human rights activist Omoyele Sowore, challenging Nigerians across ethnic lines to join him in a peaceful march to the Aso Rock presidential villa to demand Mr. Kanu's release, even as his health is reported to be fast deteriorating in custody. Well, for more on this, I'm joined now in the studio by the irrepressible human rights activist and former presidential candidate Omoyele Sowore. Thank you very much indeed for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
What has motivated you to take this step of calling on people to take to the streets to draw attention to the need to release Mr. Kanu?
It's a number of things. And one is that we're friends. We've been friends for a long time. In fact, I was one of the few people through Sahara TV that interviewed Nnamdi Kanu when he was relatively unknown, before he was arrested the first time. When I met him in 2019, we had a conversation about the struggle for his people, and we struck a friendship then. And I was here in Nigeria, myself, held up by the Nigerian government when he was extraordinarily rendition from Kenya. In fact, I was one of the few people who ran to court by the time he had been taken to the DSS detention, where he had been deposited after he was kidnapped from Kenya. So, but the most important thing is that I understand the nature of justice. Fair hearing is constitutional right. And it is in his own case that you can say that he's presumed guilty and he's trying to prove his innocence, which is very sad. If you look at how long it has taken for all these court processes to take place, you know that Kanu's fate is not in the hands of the judiciary. If a decision was taken today by the owners of Nigeria to let him go, the judge might sit in the middle of the night and let him go. And by the way, on my way here, something happened. President Tinubu just pardoned 82 people. One of them was Herbert Macaulay, Nnamdi Azikiwe, of course, Farouk, who collected back from Otedola, a cocaine dealer who was in prison for life, and a fraudster. So if we can pardon this array of people and several others, I'm not asking for pardon for him, but it's time to let Nnamdi Kanu go.
Is there a lot of public support for the release of Nnamdi Kanu, or is that difficult to gauge?
I was unprecedented. You know, I've been fighting for his release for a long time. I used to attend all his court trials under Buhari. I was attacked several times. Each time I went to court, I was attacked physically by the DSS, police, thugs. But this time around, I was surprised at the number of known traditional people, you know what I mean, who are in support of. In fact, there was a poll put up by, it's not a scientific poll, by Tunde Ednon's page, who's a major Instagram influencer. And out of 17,000 people, 92% of them support the call for his release and the protest that's been planned for 20th of October.
I understand you've tried to contact many leaders in the Southeast to take more public-facing action in support of Nnamdi Kanu's release. Have you been struck by their apparent lack of personal involvement and commitment to that cause?
I'm not shocked, because I think on your show I once declared that Kanu's predicament, his ordeal, is as a result of some person in the Southeast who took a decision that his release would jeopardize their political career and future. That I know as far back as when Tinubu freshly became president, because I was part of some conversation to release him. And they said at that time, Imo elections are coming. It becomes APC might not win. And subsequently, I realized that some of the communiques you see, this is, word of mouth by day. When they go at night or when they meet number, it's likely that they have a different position. And when I started contacting them in the last 24 hours, I'm shocked. Some of them that I used to be able to reach just switched off their lines. The ones I sent messages never responded. I reached out to.
Did you hear that when he decided to reach out to them, Omoyele Sowore is reaching out to them for this very protest on 20th? Some of them switched off their phone. Some never picked his call. Some he sent message, never responded. And these are politicians in Biafra and that will come in the daytime. They will say, release Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Oh, let's recommend release Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. But here is a protest. Sowore personally called them out. He was calling them, reaching out to them to give their voice. Even if you cannot come, use your platform and give your voice and say your opinion. Some switched their phone off. Some never responded. You can imagine that. You can imagine that. I thank God that this is happening. It is going to be a wake-up call. Sometimes when we say that these politicians are not serious, they're not working for the police of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, some of us don't believe. Some think we are coming here to make noise. So many of us don't believe. But it is good that when information come like this, you digest it, you begin to realize that we are not here playing. Every single thing we say here is verifiable. The only reason most of you are not taking us seriously is because we are on social media. It is because we are on social media. 95% of what we say in this platform are accurate. Accurate. You can't beat it. But some of you don't take it serious. I want you to hear Omoyele Sowore.
Elections are coming, it becomes APC might not win. And subsequently, I realized that some of the communiques you see, this is, word of mouth by day. When they go at night or when they meet number, it's likely that they have a different position. And when I started contacting them in the last 24 hours, I'm shocked. Some of them that I used to be able to reach just switched off their lines.
Imagine.
The ones I sent messages never responded. I reached out to Soludo, who I know personally.
As Charles
Soludo, governor of Anambra State. No response to him now. I reached out to Alex Oti. Alex Oti used to be a columnist for Sahara Reporters. So
you can imagine Soludo that built a billboard, released Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Sowore personally called him. He switched off his phone. I am not surprised. The same man also told us that the reason Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is not going to bring peace in Biafra land. So therefore, it is not necessary. And even as election is coming, he is afraid because Mazi Nnamdi Kanu can never support evil. He will never support evil. As evil as Soludo is, he knows that the presence of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu will mark his end. He refused to pick the call from Omoyele Sowore. He also reached out to Oti, governor of Abia State. Hear him what he said.
I know him personally. No response till now. The only response they got was a nominal response that no, you shouldn't have dragged us the way you did. Reached out to Peter Obi, they said is in Rome.
You see? Alex Oti was saying that he should have not dragged them the way he did. That means he should have come in directly inside all this backyard door and talk to them. Alex Oti of Abia State was saying that Sowore should have not called them out the way he did. That he should have done it in another way. And that is their muchu way that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu will be in detention forever without anybody here. They will come and make a speech. Any day they want to make a rally, they use his name, they use his speech of campaign, and they continue what they are doing. That's Sowore should have not called them out. Oti is saying this. And tomorrow you see him tell you Mazi Nnamdi Kanu will definitely be released. He is doing nothing. Governor Oti of Abia State is doing absolutely nothing. If he is doing something, he's supposed to be happy that Sowore made this call. In fact, I was expecting him to be the first person to agree, the first person to align himself and give a voice. But it is about them and their political career. Alex Oti was threatening Sowore that why would he make it public? He should have not gone to the way he's going. He should have met them in down. You can imagine.
But I sent a message that, you can behave as Romans do too, just be part of this. But some have been encouraging Senator Barry. I reached out.
P2B never gave a word. He was even advising P2B to just do like just pretend and send the message out. Even if you don't come, just pretend and send the message out like others are sending. He did nothing. He did nothing.
He responded, he said, on this. And I know that
Abaribe said he's in.
When he was shorty for Kanu. In fact, I was sleeping on Abaribe's bed at the DSS in 2019, shortly after he was released, because he was shorty for Nnamdi Kanu. So the rep from his state and the National House of Rep also signed up. A number of persons are signed up, some of them publicly, but there is no unified response from Southeastern political leaders or traditional rulers, or even the religious priesthood there, which many had expected would happen. But a lot of young people have signed up to this, and you can see that the Nigerian government is already pushing back because they've seen the response to the unequivocal support of the police of Nnamdi Kanu at this time. I don't think they were expecting that such a response to be so favorable and swift.
So is this what you think is needed to push this Nnamdi Kanu issue over the line and perhaps change President Tinubu's view of Mr. Kanu and not the sort of behind-the-scenes quiet diplomacy that has been going on since?
It's obvious that diplomacy cannot work. If it was going to work, by now it would have resolved the issue. I think they used the diplomacy or their proclamation about diplomacy to just make the public become a little detached about his release, so that nobody, no, they're working on it, don't worry. Because we hear that a lot from OT, who is the Abia State government, is working on this quietly. In fact, I was told in court about 2 weeks ago that he will be released on head grounds. They convinced everybody, only for him to come to court, and he kept changing the goalposts, as we call it. So I don't think diplomacy has to be a combination of, actions. And one of it, I think, is going to be a loud public disapproval of his continued detention, and the protest would work, in my view, in that regard. And that's why I want these people who claim to want him to be released to join the protest. Yes, because when they have issues, they do protest. There's no major politician in this country has ever participated in the protest when their own private interests are at stake.
I was speaking to a group of Nigerian political campaigners recently, and they seem to think that mobilizing the Nigerian people for any kind of large-scale protest has become a sort of famously impossible thing to achieve. I mean, do you share that view?
Well, I don't. It's the same country in 2024 that Nigerians protested for 10 days straight. It was known as a bad governance struggle. Nigerians in 2020 did NSAS. It was a globally acclaimed resistance.
Well, to be fair, the NSAS was the last big protest.
Yes, but there was still a protest in 2024. It may not have been as big. What I'm saying is that, yes, there's been efforts to discourage Nigerians, and when you go out there, kill people and charge them for offenses that are very grievous in nature, you're likely to discourage a country in which, you have 139 million people who are living in abject poverty. They just want to go out there and get whatever they can and survive from day to day, hand to mouth. So, but I don't think that is impossible. What has been impossible is the unity of purpose, because they have figured out how to divide us. Along ethnicity. I remember in 2024, when we were planning bad governance protest, we included the release of Nnamdi Kanu in that protest. And Johannes Ndi, when I issued a statement that they are not part of the protest.
Imagine, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was included in End Bad Governance protest, Ohaneze Ndị Igbo went and said they are not part of it. The atrocities of these people is unimaginable. It is unimaginable. When we call this Ohaneze Ndị Hinandiama, when we tell you that these people are instruments of the caliphate, they have never ever been there for us. They are not for us. Their election and choices was not made by Biafrans. They call them Igbo socio-cultural group. These people are not representing the Igbos. This is a group of caliphate agents that we are put together to continue to oppress us, to continue to fight against the Igbo agenda, the Biafra agenda, to fight anything that will present Igbo in a good light. That is what Ohaneze Ndị Igbo is fighting. There was a time a leaked audio came out when this same Ohaneze Ndị Hinandiama, we are going to beg the North. They went to beg the North. They said they want to go and beg the North. They want to go to Sokoto and beg the Sultan to forgive the Igbos. Tell me in what sense? Only an idiot, something that even a child that is born yesterday will not do. Those of us that read history and know what the Igbos have suffered, we cannot make that kind of a move. But these are the people that come and claim that they are Methuselah. Some of them will tell you they fought the war. Some of them will tell you that they were part of the war. Some of them will come and claim one thing or the other, but they raise up and say they wanted to go and beg. Until one formidable Biafran, a true son of the land that have the blood of Biafra is vain, had that information and told them, you are going there on your own, and it is a shame. That was how they dropped that move. You can imagine somebody who is not a Biafran, who is not an Igbo person, because Omoyele Sowore has origin from Biafra. He's from IGHO. IGHO is Biafra. Omoyele Sowore is IGHO, even though he has Yoruba inclination. But the Igbo people refused to join the M governance because Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was blamed. They said they're not part of it. What a shame. In this call now that Sowore made, they were the people that are supposed to make this call. They didn't make it. Sowore made this call. They have not issued any statement. Ohaneze Ndị Hinandiama has not come out to support. Because they are trying to secure position for their friends, for their brothers, for their wife. They want to patronize the governors that appointed them. They want to patronize the people from the caliphate that appointed them. It is this Ohaneze Ndị Igbo that one of their leaders have said that he will stand and fight anybody that will fight against Fulani herdsmen. That he will defend Fulani herdsmen. That before you kill Fulani herdsmen, you kill him first. It is in this same place the Ohaneze leader was planning to go and sell the Igbos to Sultan of Sokoto. You can imagine. We are in really big trouble, and it's going to end. We will end it in our own time.
So maybe by now we would have gotten Nnamdi released. So there's also a lot of tactics used by Nigerian governments to discourage people, and some of it is how they have made it open-ended to kill protesters. Implicate them in crimes that are insurmountable. We saw in 2024 how they charged children for treason. It's never happened anywhere in the world before. So, but I think the consciousness around it is great. And I also think that in some ways, Nigerians always love when things are happening in other places. They love the replica of it. You notice that there's been a lot of chatter around Nepal, Morocco recently. So maybe, that's also might be an inspiration.
Right, but I mean, are there lingering security-related things that are yet to be resolved around Mr. Kanu? I mean, can he, for instance, call on IPOB? I think he's called on them before, but again, to relinquish all forms of violence and all forms of threat to the Nigerian state. Will that be needed as well in order to convince the powers that be of Mr. Kanu's sincerity?
I think he made an open declaration in court where he said, give me 5 minutes if I'm released. I'm going to end the violence in the Southeast. He made the declaration in court last year. What else do you want from him? And you are the government, at the end of it. You have a duty to protect the public. It's not his job to protect the southeast or the southwest. But the truth is that I have said this, and I'll repeat again. If you are a Nigerian, you can get away with a lot of things. But if you are Igbo, Nigerian, you can't get away with a lot of things. Yes.
So you're not getting away.
Odds
You're
are
not getting away with much. Huh?
yeah, but the odds are stacked against you because you're coming with zero, and they'll do to you. I mean, it was in this country that there's a Yoruba nation movement. They even went and hijacked a radio station last year. Did you hear of any trial? Did you hear of any arrests? I'm not using that. I'm not saying that should not be the case, but we must tell ourselves the truth. That it just doesn't look good that the Igbos are marginalized in every sector, including in the justice sector. To get a trial wrapped up in 10 years is so difficult to do, especially when you claim that you have evidence that this person has committed this previous crime.
Imagine.
Nothing has been done. No, there's nobody who has been presented as a witness. The only witness that was presented in his case did not accuse him of any crime. He didn't say he found a gun on him or he was importing ammunition or weapons or had a grenade. He just said, well, he was making declaration that he wants Biafra. And I've checked the Nigerian Constitution, 1999 Constitution. There's nowhere it is stated that it's a crime to say that you want Biafra.
Yeah, well, I mean, you do have to, and not to sort of qualify what you're saying, but I mean, the person asking for a Yoruba nation is quite different from the Biafra issue, because Biafra, actually, there was a war in this country.
That's exactly what I'm telling you, that the laws are stacked against you.
That lasted quite some time. So in that context, and in that very narrow context, anything that appears to inflame that concept of bringing back the memories of the war and all the things that happened, and in a sense threatening this country, is something that raises the hackles of people. But let me ask you this: I mean, you yourself have become a sort of master of the protests, if that can be described in polite terms. I mean, is that because you believe that over the years, or over the decades, the mood of the times in this country has been politically dark and is getting darker?
Yes, I have always stated that every president in Nigeria is worse than the last one. When Buhari left, everybody said this is going to be the worst. And after Buhari left,
Did you hear that? Every current president of Nigeria, every next president of Nigeria will always be worse than the last. You see, hate Sowore, like Sowore, he knows the truth. And he speaks it even though he doesn't speak the way we do. Being that he is a politician, being that he is in the system, trying to see what he can be able to do, he knows himself that it will not work. He knows. But in order to be in a safe side, because sometimes some people believe that they have to be alive to fight this cause. But some of us we that are Biafrans, we know we have nothing to lose. There is nothing to lose anymore. We have faced death. We have faced extermination. We have faced war. There is nowhere to run to. We must push back. And that is why we stand there. When you see Sowore speak certain times, you know that he is saying exactly what we are saying, but on different angle. Look at him saying it. Even though he is contesting for presidency, he's telling you that every new president you have in Nigeria is always worse than the previous one. Even though he is contesting for president, he is saying that any new president in Nigeria will be worse than the past. You can't imagine that somebody will be worse than Muhammadu Buhari. And I bet you, whoever comes after this man you are seeing, this drug baron, anybody that steps in after him will be worse than him. You see why we say the only solution is disintegration of the zoo. Go your separate ways. We are tired of managing this nonsense. There is nothing that can be done except disintegration. Even though Sowore doesn't want to use that language, Sowore has confirmed what we are saying, confirmed our belief by saying that every new president that comes will always be worse than the previous one. And that is why we no longer want to take such chance. We don't want to participate in anything that has to do with Nigeria. That is why we are going all out. We have nothing to lose. We have lost it all. We have faced death. We have faced persecution. We have faced everything that can be faced. The only difference between us and Sowore is that he still thinks he can do something. But he knows that it's impossible. And even he himself, nobody is going to give him a chance. That is why sometimes you see him, he will divert to revolution. Our supreme leader, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, also called for a massive revolution to change things. And I bet you, if there is that massive revolution that is going to shake up the entire nation, only then and then, somebody can begin to dream of maybe something can be better. But as it stands today, we have lost complete hope. The permanent solution today remains disintegration of the social government. I'm sure we have confirmed it by saying that every new president that comes will always be worse than the previous one. Take it to the bank. I want you to hear it from him once again.
Over the decades, the mood of the times in this country has been politically dark and is getting darker.
Yes, I have always stated that every president in Nigeria is worse than the last one. When Buhari left, everybody said this is going to be the worst. And after Buhari left, people were calling for the return of the Buhari regime. So that shows to you that
to be fair, I hadn't heard a lot of people calling for a return.
I heard a lot of people who said,
in preference to the
I've heard people say, give us Buhari fuel price, give us Buhari's Naira.
Yes, I suppose in that sense, because the prices were lower. Yeah.
Some people also went and give Buhari a rousing burial, so it doesn't look like they hate him. I was probably the only person who said, this guy don't deserve the kind of monumental, acclaim and cheerleading that followed his burial. But that's a conversation for another day. But the truth is that the country is getting darker. The electoral process has become very Byzantine. Nobody believes that elections can deliver votes that bring about credibility, that they can be free and fair, and that it is the people you vote for that will get declared as winners of the election. Of course, we've seen poverty. Yesterday, it said, this is from the Nigerian government, that from 81 million people who are in abject poverty, we have now moved to 139 million, and we have 200 million people. So we're not making progress. That's the truth, either politically, economically, culturally, and socially.
Well, the government is disputing those sort of World Bank figures, and they would say to you, I'm sure you've heard them say it many times, that your view of this country is particularly melancholy and despairing.
Well, they've always said that, and I've never been wrong. They've been the ones who've been wrong. My position on politics, economy, in the way the justice system works has been, right. I remember in 2019 when I was arrested and charged for treason, I made it clear. I said, no, this is going nowhere. And that's what happened. One day they came and withdrew their charges. So when I said to you that elections are not free, fair, or credible, or that they are allocating votes, I'm not lying. When you look at it, you find out I'm right. So
no, I expect a lot of Nigerians would agree with
you. So, and on the issue of Nnamdi Kanu that we're talking about, they have always stated that this trial was not going anywhere, and it hasn't gone anywhere. And that's why we're asking them to stop wasting resources, time, energy, and emotions on this, because the DSS spent millions of naira to come and carry out this charade in courts. They have to lock up every street just to come and seek an adjournment.
And would you say that dark theme that you talk about, that kind of overshadows this country, has resonance for many Nigerians? I mean, you do have a huge following, But do they see this country as darkly as you do, and that sense that everything is about to explode?
They see it even more than I do. That's why they are living. That's why most Nigerians, whenever they have the slightest opportunity to leave Nigeria, you don't leave a place that is that's going to explode.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's making progress.
That's
You
true.
stay and wait for it to see the progress happen. If
Yes.
this place was promised land, people will be coming in. But because it is not, people are leaving, you know. The only
Definitely.
people that are left in Nigeria are people who are stuck in Nigeria.
Stuck. That is the word. They are stuck.
Who are dinosaurs, who can't go anywhere because they can't sense danger.
But you're not stuck in Nigeria.
I'm likely stuck. This is my passport since January. But even if my passport was not seized, I'll be here. You know, that's a decision I took a long time ago. Even though I have the right to move freely around the world, that I'm done with being, you know, having a career in being, you know, exile, you know, being another person's country. Yeah. Because why did we go there in the first place? We travel 12,000 miles just to go and drink drinkable water in America, enjoy electricity, drive on good roads, get good jobs, send our children to school. That's why we all leave this place. If we have that over here, nobody will be a second-class citizen in the UK or anywhere in Europe. Those are the basic reasons why we leave this place. We go and seek hospitals and work. We go and drive on roads that don't kill people. We don't want to live in darkness. We don't want our neighbors to cut our necks off because of insecurity. We don't want our police to jail us when we haven't committed any offense. That's the reason we leave. These are the basic reasons why Nigerians are living in droves. If those conditions are in place, people who have left will return by tomorrow. Some of them will return without taking a single bag of clothing to come back. But Nigeria has denied them that opportunity. And it is because of that darkness that is hovering over Nigeria almost perpetually, day and night, that people are living. That is their own way of expressing that things are not good here anymore.
Well, on that rather dark note, I want to thank you very much indeed. Omoyele Sowore is a human rights activist and former presidential candidate. Always good to see you, and thank you for coming in.
Free Nnamdi Kanu now.
Thank you very much indeed. That's it for this edition of Arise Prime Time. Join us again tomorrow. From me and the entire team here in Abuja and Lagos, bye-bye, and thank you for watching.
You have heard it. That is it. We will continue to bring you informations whenever we have any. That was Sowore on an interview expressing himself, saying it the way it is. Something that nobody in Biafra land of Igbo extraction can do. As far as Nigeria is concerned, nobody can stand for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu the way Sowore is doing right now. Not a politician, not a human rights activist. Obi Ezekwesili claimed to be an activist. She was there for end bad governance. She was there for Chibok girls. She was there for Natasha. But when it comes to what matters, Obi Ezekwesili disappears. Obi Ezekwesili disappears. No single Igbo person can do what Sowore is doing today. You can hate him, you can like him, it's up to you. I don't give a damn. As Nigeria starts to do, none of them could have the boldness he has to call not just a protest, but a protest in Asorok. It is not just an ordinary protest, a protest in Asorok, calling out people that matters to join. Nobody dare do that of Igbo extraction in Nigeria. I believe that Chukwu Okike can use anybody to free us. I don't care. Don't come here and tell me, oh, it's politically motivated. Oh, it's for his interest. Let it be for his selfish interest. But let that pressure be there. All I want is pressure. This is what Mazi Nnamdi advocated for when he was around. When he was, we had pressure when Mazi Nnamdi was there. Mazi Nnamdi was giving Boto pressure. Today, we don't have any pressure anywhere. Not diplomatically, not politically, not an armed struggle. We are nowhere. There's nowhere we are putting pressure on Nigeria. Nigeria is just looking at us, smiling and having a free ride in Biafra land, destroying innocent life, accusing us, blackmailing us freely, using their media as they like. There is no voice. We don't have any other voice. After they succeeded in taking Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, no other voice. It is so sad. It is very, very painful and sad. But no matter what happened, we thank Chukwu Okike that today he is using somebody to speak on our behalf. Look at the call has been made. The Igbo people he contacted, none of them have. Look at those idiots who come and tell you money na water. Obi Kuban and them, and his brother Chief whatever they call him. All those clowns that money misroad that are jumping up and down. All those idiots up and down. How many of them have added their voice? It took Sowore to begin to call important personalities to add their voice. Where is Ohaneze Ndo Shinandam? Where is Ohaneze Ndo Shinandam? They were the very first people to proscribe IPOB. Ohaneze Ndo Shinandam supported the prosecution of IPOB. They were the one that joined, they were part of the kidnap of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu from Kenya. Ohaneze was aware and they supported it. They applauded it. Ohaneze proscribed. Ohaneze was the genesis of the problem. And when Mazi Nnamdi came and said, you can't hold my brother, you can't hold a Biafran, Ohaneze put a bounty on his head. They put the first one, it wasn't enough. They put the second one. Ohaneze. When they succeeded in taking Mazi Nnamdi out, Ohaneze was the first people that issued statement to thank the Nigerian government for detaining our Prime Minister Mazi Nnamdi. Ohaneze was the one in the front line, the first people to issue a statement thanking the Nigerian government for detaining an innocent man for self-determination, a person that put his own career, his own life on the line to save them from shame, to save them from disgrace. Today, people who are talking are people we don't expect. I also applaud our brother, our elder brother, Uwazirike. Uwazirike has come out. That is why sometimes I say, when you are talking about something, look at the positive. We should not always be thinking about the negative, because that is the foundation Mazi Nnamdi Kanu laid. This Oju Okalu today that say he will not say anything. Oju Okalu was met, and Oju Okalu say he will not issue any statement until he hears what Tinubu and the court says. That vulture, Oju Okalu. When he was detained, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was still calling for his release. Mazi Nnamdi was calling for his release. But he came to decide for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. He is the one that is making sure that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is not released. When somebody do good, you applaud him. When they do bad, you focus on them and tell them the way it is. Today, our senior brother Uwazirike came out and said that he has even contacted Aloy before, Aloy Ejimako, in private, and told him that he is ready to testify on the side of the defense for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. He said he volunteered himself to testify on the side of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu defense. We didn't hear that. None of us know. If not that he just said it now, we didn't know. And he didn't say it in private. He said it, and Aloy Ejimako confirmed it by posting that video. And this time, he said he's ready to be in the front line to protest for the release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, even if he's Abuja or anywhere that he's going to be there. And we applaud him, at least for adding his voice. We know age is not in his side anymore. He's not strong as he used to be. But at least for putting his voice, you can imagine, calls we are put, some people were not answering their call, some of them off their phone. That is how bad it is for us. Wherever you are as a Biafra, we must continue to pursue our self-determination. It is our right, it is not a privilege. Self-determination is a right, not privilege. A right supported by international law. supported by African peoples and human rights law. Even in Nigerian law itself, self-determination is supported. But when it comes to the issue of Biafra, they criminalize it. They call you names. They demonize it. They do different kinds of things to discourage you. If you allow yourself to be discouraged, you will face the consequence. But I bet you, it is Biafra or Biafra. There is no going back. My fellow Biafrans, I appreciate every one of you that have joined me on this very wonderful, wonderful program. Tomorrow, we are going to be here. It is weekend tomorrow, Saturday. We will come back here and we will talk and chat on another part to continue to create this awareness. I don't care, even if it is one person watching, 2 people. As long as I have breath, I can still breathe. I can still have that energy. I have a platform. I will continue to advocate for the Biafran nation, for self-determination of the Biafran people. I will continue to advocate for self-determination for Biafran people. It is my right, and nobody will take it away from me. No man or woman will take it away from me. And those of you who knows that they are interested in that, join me every morning and every evening. Join us. Let us continue to preach this gospel. If you have opportunity to come up and speak, come up and air your own opinion. If you have the opportunity, come up and air your opinion. Even if you have a contrary opinion, you are welcome. Nobody knows it all. We want to engage. We want to disagree to agree. If you have that superior argument that you want us to bring it on, we are ready to follow you. We are ready to listen. So join us every morning. And when you come across our video, help us to like and share. Social media network is not helping us. Instead, they are shadow banning our platform. They know what we are doing. They know what we are saying. So they try to shadow ban our platform to make sure that we are not visible, in order to discourage us from coming out. But I cannot be discouraged. I have passed that level of discouragement. No. I have crossed that level of I have been in this place for a very long time. For somebody to discourage me. The only discouragement I can get is that when I come out, I want to log in and I see they have taken away the platform. But as long as the platform is there, I will always come here to speak. Definitely. Even if it is one person watching, I will be here. I will be here. So let us continue to add our voice. Continue to demand for the release of our Supreme Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Enough of this, their nonsense display of lawlessness. Enough of it. Enough of abuse of the right of the Biafran people. Enough of it. It is high time. It is high time we move to the next level to build our nation and be who we are supposed to be. Grow in our own space at our own speed. I appreciate everyone that have been with us on this platform today. It is our evening program. You know, our evening program usually is 1 hour, and we have been able to cover more than 1 hour today. So I thank you for being part of the program. If you join us late and you miss something, you can go back and watch, share, and like. Very important, so that we can be able to get this message where I need to get to. Thank you so much, my fellow Biafrans. I pray that Chukwu Okike will guide and protect every single one of you that is on this program. No weapon formed or fashioned against you shall prosper. I pray for our leaders, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and Mazi Nnamdi. No weapon formed or fashioned against them shall prosper. I pray for their safety and security, and I pray that they will join us very soon. Thank you so much for watching this program. I appreciate every one of you, and see you again tomorrow morning by the grace of Chukwu Okike. Thank you, and stay safe. Good night, everybody.
Nigeria don't enter one chance, I swear, now go with the go so. Herdsmen, they kill us every day, but them busy, they campaign again. After they failed all the promises they made, oh, them they praise themselves. Why the masses were supposed to give them the praises we they here they run to? Move it out. I blame it on the religious leaders. I blame it on the traditional rulers. People were supposed to fight for the people, they don't compromise. It's very close, I feel when the power of the people we triumph, the power of the people in power. They don't even care, they don't even send. Say the people they die of hunger. Hungry dog is an angry dog. One day you go bite the owner. Idle man is the devil workshop. Many youths for Nigeria no good job, and the country the youths got no future. The country is gone, that's on period. Move it on. I blame it on the judiciary leaders. I blame it on the electoral officials. People were supposed to save the nation, but they collected bribe. Shame on the armed forces. People were supposed to protect the masses. One of them they shoot us anytime they